people are being denied bringing aid in. It's another thing. They're being denied by police. No one's going in or out of Maui. And they're claiming that it's to protect the scene for investigation. So they're prioritizing the scene being investigated and controlling that investigation over the people, over life.
Hey guys, this episode is brought to you by Overstock Dixie. You can go like and follow their Instagram. There's new items that pop up on there every day, multiple times a day. Anything from furniture to tools, electronics, pretty much anything you're looking for. Hey guys, welcome back to the Derick Legg podcast. We are in the vault again today. This is episode 112. And by popular demand, we have our most famous guest in again today, and our most frequent, is that the right word? Reoccurring. There you go.
I guess so.
This is Blake Norton from Blue Form, one of our producers.
I guess I'm the most convenient guest as well.
Yeah, that's true.
I just like one room over,
he's like
usually
literally
editing or something.
We share walls.
Yeah.
But we kind of wanted to get on here. We like to go through conspiracy stuff when Blake comes on, and I don't know, I mean, if you're on audio, you won't know this, but on video, he's got a book and
notes,
a notepad and an iPad, and we're
Pictures.
diving. Pictures. So we're actually going to talk about some conspiracy theories, some conspiracies. Again, I want to remind people that a conspiracy theory and a conspiracy are two different things.
Well, conspiracy theory is just a term that was coined by the propaganda machine that we call the CIA coined that term. In the 60s, when Kennedy was assassinated, anybody who could read between the lines and exercise any amount of like critical thinking skills was labeled and shamed publicly in all sorts of campaigns and ways by politicians and people of influence. And they called them conspiracy theorists.
Right.
You know, wear your tinfoil hat and be a conspiracy theorist.
Or it's just a conspiracy.
It's just fucking conspiracy. Excuse my language, but I'm gonna get pissed today talking about this.
All right, let's just dive, man. I don't know if we need to preference it any more than that. I wrote down a couple notes, but this is
we're talking about Maui though, right?
Yeah, talking about Maui this time.
Current events,
right?
Current fuckery.
I've heard stuff, you know, just briefly social media type posts and whatnot. So I'm very like surface level of this. So we're going to see how deep Blake wants to go. And
oh man, not willingly. I've gone pretty deep on this, but it's not willingly. I hate this shit. I don't have room for it in my life, but the government keeps putting it on a goddamn plate for us to eat.
We can't avoid it.
And the media and the whole propaganda machine. It's just infuriating. But to preface everything, I want to say, like, you can go as deep as you want on this. You can get it crazy as you want. But really what happens is an event happens, especially when logic doesn't line up and emotions are already high and stress is already high and the news cycle and the media just creates this fear in people. All these things are already high. So if you don't have the ability to come down, like right now I'm fired up because I've been thinking about it, prepping for this little episode because I think we decided yesterday we'd sit down and record.
Yeah,
so
well, we've mentioned for a couple of weeks that we would probably do it, but we put it on paper yesterday.
Yeah, and so you come up for air. Remember that life is good, that you have control, that you have critical thinking skills. Not everything is true. A lot of things, whether it's a conspiracy or not, or a theory or whatever, if it's just a whack job. I think there's a lot of truth to a lot of stuff, but be careful. Use your own judgment. You know, don't take our word for it. Go do your own research. But there are an awful lot of dots that connect really weirdly with Maui. Same thing with stuff in the past. Like we got the anniversary of September 11th coming up. So I'll show you some similarities to that, I guess. But it's just a little disclaimer for everybody. Use your judgment. Life is good. Life is great. We won't live in a wonderful time to be a part of humanity right now. Like there's a lot of good stuff going on. But if you're not awake, if you're not aware of shit, then, you know, the wolves in sheep clothing, to use a familiar allegory for everybody, they'll pounce on you. They'll come get you, you know. So just be aware. This whole thing is just to bring awareness. So if you haven't looked into Maui, maybe this is a good place to start for you.
Yeah, you already kind of touched on something I thought of. Well, I guess I didn't think of it. I was kind of Googling stuff to kind of counter you so we can kind of keep the conversation back and forth.
No, I love it.
And it was funny because I was reading something off of CNN and it said that the people that are conspiracy theorists that are posting on social media are the ones pumping fear and pumping control and pumping everything that you just said the media is doing.
Yeah. Well,
and they're claiming it's the people.
Well, if you think about it, right? Here's what's happening is we have all these influencers, TikTokers, Instagram, people are doing the reporting better than the fucking media.
Right. Than the people we're supposed to trust.
And so the media is they're not giving us the goddamn facts. They're not even attempting to. All they're doing is putting out hit pieces on conspiracy theorists.
Well, yeah.
Instead of giving us the facts like they're fucking supposed to do,
like people that are on the ground,
they're telling us what's not true, like what's fake, or hey, be aware that this might be false. Like, you're the reporter. Why don't you go fucking find out if it's true or not?
There you go.
Don't tell me that somebody else, like, they're just reporting about what influencers are saying. Well, be aware there might be some conspiracies about this. They're like, you're supposed to just accept what we say. Like, how about they go do some investigative journalism and fucking find out? Instead, like, because if the answer is correct, they should just give us the correct answer. You know, if this happened, if XYZ happened, then tell us the facts about that. But the fact that we're even like an Instagram or TikToker can compete with CNN, and then CNN puts energy to say like, no, let's fact check that. Let's fact check that fucking weirdo on TikTok.
Yeah, TikTok, you better
this
put a
mega
banner.
News corporation's like, we have to fact. This is going to be crazy. We have to, for lack of a better pun, they have to put out the fires on social media because Lord knows they can't put them out on Maui. Jesus. Anyway, sorry, I'm getting a little passionate.
We're already in it.
We're in it. Fuck. That's like a telltale sign. Like, the media won't even report correctly. They're too busy telling us, like, all of the conspiracy wackos out there are putting out theories. They're too busy about telling us which ones we should and shouldn't listen to. Why don't you tell us the facts then that make sense? Like, give us logical things. Don't sugarcoat it. Don't lie, because what we're seeing and what's like happening isn't matching what the media says, and so that just allows this like firestorm. Another pun. Mm-hmm. This allows this firestorm of like misinformation and all this stuff. Like, if the media could actually report well, this is fact, and this is exposing the media right here. The media is a propaganda machine. They don't care about the facts or the truth. They want you to believe a narrative. Because if they reported the facts and the truth, then logical people could say, that sounds correct. But we're hearing two stories, and one of them is more logical, and there's a lot more dots to connect than what, it's climate change and wildfires. They don't fucking match. So it shows to show you major news corporations. We've all known this for years, but they are 100% propaganda machines. And they're spending their time and effort and energy putting out hit pieces and news articles that are making sure the propaganda narrative is protected rather than finding the truth. So there's your proof right fucking there.
Yeah, I think
something's gone.
When you're going through websites, when you're going through stuff, it's all about clicks, right? It's not about what's true and what's not.
Yeah.
It's about what gains clicks.
Yes, that's a good point to say too. So even the people that like are connecting these conspiracy dots, they're outraged. It's emotionally based driven. I mean, look at me right now. I'm like raging. So, but I'm raging this because I'm going to connect some dots that like just go to show you that like, you know, these entities and these powers and our government is not to be trusted at all. It's to be actually cast aside. We should be fucking rebelling right now in every way possible, legally, peacefully. We're not doing anything nuts, but like, do not comply. Follow the laws that are in place, but do not comply with any of this bullshit that comes in the wave of climate change that's coming.
So I thought this was interesting. I'll read this. This is an article. It's on like CNN.com.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me go back down to where it was. It says, ahead of the publishing of this article, TikTok removes several conspiracy theory videos sent by CNN that were in violation of its community guidelines, which is characterized as inaccurate, misleading, or false. Content that may cause significant harm to individuals or society, regardless of intent. So I thought it was interesting that CNN controls that's what it says.
Yeah.
The CNN can send it in and control on an open-based platform what gets reported and what doesn't. And then in there too, it talks about like how how social media platforms as a whole are the algorithm and how it's built is the more popular something gets, the more it rises to the top.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's like the biggest, they were saying that's the biggest red flag of these things. So while some things end up
popular belief should be squelched.
That's what's censored, right?
Yeah, and that's like just a huge backward ass way of thinking. Like, tie it to like a religion. The popular belief, if you live in a Christian dominated community or country, is Christianity. Whether or not that's true or not, is Christianity the real religion? That's up for you to decide. It's not really provable.
Yeah.
It's a train of thought. It's popular opinion. The majority of Americans are Christian or a certain way. And they're like, that's a warning.
Yeah, red flag.
The popular opinion, whether it's right or wrong, it's still popular opinion. And that's the fact that they want to squelch that, right? Cool. What's wrong with thinking that there was ill intent behind something that they're claiming was a natural disaster? Like, what do we gain or lose if we think that someone caused a natural disaster for ill-gotten gains? What does that do? It just makes us more open to the idea. It makes us more open to see it. And maybe we're projecting it. Maybe we're wrong, but it's not going to affect us in a daily life to be right or wrong about that. But what's going to affect it is if we're more aware about it. Even if we're completely fucking wrong about the ill will behind Maui, the outcome is that we are now looking for this and we are undermining the powers that be. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, on a large scale, the concept is like, replace Maui with 9/11, replace Maui with Pearl Harbor. Like, if popular opinion lines up with what the government, with the propaganda, what they want you to believe, then it's like, everything's good in the world. But if popular opinion and popular belief goes this way against the propaganda machine, like that's the telltale sign. Even if the popular opinion is completely wrong.
Oh, but misinformation, Blake.
Yeah. It's just like the fact that they are claiming what's information.
Right.
Why can't we as the populace have a belief together?
Well, I thought it was funny because
dangerous.
Like we had said before we got on, it's interesting how one side of the aisle gets fed this news and the other side of the aisle gets fed this news, right? And it's when it says that, it's in there explaining why these things need to be censored. And then you and I are like, wait, what? Like, it's an open platform, and I think.
Yeah. Why does anything need to be censored? Then?
Yeah. When you're that platform.
Yeah.
There's other laws and other guidelines on other things where they can control, like private companies, right? They can control different things. I understand that part, but they're trying to be an open social network.
Yeah.
So why is there censorship?
Why get in the way of public opinion?
Well,
That's weird.
Social media's got a weird line that they have to toe, man, because they're trying to censor. They are censoring. They're not trying to. They're censoring, but they're trying to have free speech, but then they're kind of not. But then there's just a banner that says it could be misinformation, but then they'll straight up, they could either shadow ban someone so like they're still there.
You're saying it's a gray area.
Yeah, it's just a weird thing.
And like, if we think this is the mistake and the folly of every single person. If you think that like a tool that enables humanity to grow or to connect, in this case, it's connection and instant communication, which is the internet, which is global communications. If you think that that's just only a good thing for humanity and there's no duality to it, you're like, this is a great technology. Like, you're hopeful, cool, but you're also an idiot. If you don't understand that there's a yin and a yang, like if something good happens, Like if there's a cure for cancer, that's great, but guess what? It's going to cost $1 million. Who's going to be able to get it, without going into debt and feeding the system more? Like these things that enable humanity to grow and for us to progress as a society are so good, but they're also tools for evil, if you want to call it that, or just for ill will.
Yeah.
Just for power and control. So, yeah, social media is great. They say, oh, we're meant to be this open platform. We're supposed to have freedom of speech. Other countries don't have the same freedom of speech level that, Americans have, written by the Constitution. And I don't even think we fully have it anymore.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah, we don't have,
that?
A digital bill of rights people talk about. But, like, you can't post certain things. You can't do it. Like, people in the United Kingdom, there was some statistics about that a couple years ago, or during COVID. They had so many people being arrested just for posting an opinion online. I think it's like, I'd have to look it up. Maybe Mal can kind of search that as we talk. But how many people were arrested in the United Kingdom for like anti-COVID stuff? And British people were finding this out, and they were going like, "Oh, what? Yeah, they don't share the same constitutional rights or whatever. There's all these loopholes." But like, a soccer mom, a football mom was what they call them over in the UK, I guess.
Yeah.
She takes the boys out for fish and chips and gets them to football practice, right? They were being arrested, like hand over fist in the UK. Yeah, here's breach of lockdown restrictions. So like their ability to express, right? Like look at those fucking cops don't even have their mask on.
I was just gonna say.
Like,
that guy's got his nose out. That guy just
damn.
has it on his chin.
So, like, these people are being arrested for exercising their freedom of speech, right?
Yeah.
And it's not a global concept yet. It's an American concept. And so these big companies that have to, they have to play by the American rules a little bit, but they're still very restricting comparatively. So that's a good tangent to talk about, actually, because of the freedom of speech.
One more thing I just want to touch on, dude, then we'll dive in. Because I thought this was interesting, too. It says a company spokesperson, so this is CNN, they're talking about TikTok. A company spokesperson said that more than 40,000 trust and safety professionals around the world review and moderate content at all hours of the day.
I wonder what the requirements are.
Yeah, so I've never been approached to be a trust and safety professional.
Yeah.
I feel pretty trust. Like, I think people trust me. No one's ever asked me to do it.
Once you read between the lines and you start hearing that kind of verbiage and bureaucracy and stuff, no matter if it's from a corporation or anything, that trust and safety official, you might as well put Gestapo on there, because that's the only place that has room to go.
Wow, this is
it's
going
not
to
going to de-escalate.
This is also going to have clips on TikTok about this. So
yeah, good. Let's get this on TikTok.
Eddie, dude, let's dive in. Let's dive into what you've prepared, and what you've talked about. Like I said, I'm more on board with you than I'm not, right, on most things.
But yeah, play the devil's advocate.
Yeah, but I'm going to kind of try and play the other side. It's hard for me to do because I'm naturally not that person.
Right.
So,
and I'm tired of like being coy and nice with people anymore. And people are like, oh, you can't like claim that. You can't prove it. I don't fucking care anymore. I'm so sick. Like the intention is there. So what I want to really dive into today is some details. Let's connect some dots. Let's line up the weird things about Maui, and let's try to understand their intention behind it. Right.
Okay.
So the analogy I like to say is, what constitutes like someone being charged for murder? I'll ask you that. If somebody's charged with murder, why did they get charged with murder? Like, was it the weapon that they used? Was it
like
situation?
Proof, like
what has to be there in order to get a murder charge? Proof of intention.
Intent, yeah.
Intention. So whether or not if you and I have an argument and I try to like stab you with a screwdriver, like, or I shoot a DEW at you, directed energy weapon from orbit. Okay. If I try to kill you, doesn't matter if it's with a butter knife or like an energy weapon from orbit, right? Those are just nouns. Sword is a noun. A tool is a noun. Yeah. A gun is a noun. A weaponized satellite platform is a noun.
By way of X.
The intention behind it is what breaks the law. It's an attempted murder or a murder because there was intention that was executed or an attempt was made. It doesn't matter what tool If I try to hit you with a car, that's an attempted murder, right? It's the intention that puts you in prison. Or if it's executed on, obviously it happens. So the intention was there the whole time. So that's what's there. So people are arguing with me like, oh, it wasn't a directed energy weapon. It was like wildfires. Or it doesn't matter if it was like a wildfire, or that's what they claim. It doesn't matter if it was arsonists, like everybody like lighting stuff with matches.
And the power company.
Or the power company, or like purposeful negligence. What's happening now is these dots are connecting and we're seeing intention behind it. So, that's how you get away with murder, is when there's no intention. So so-and-so died and you happen to be right there, but we can't prove that you had any intention, and we don't have a smoking gun, so I guess you can go free. And you're like, yes. And that's why they look for motive. Mm-hmm. If Derick Legg dies today, who benefits? If Blake Norton dies today, who benefits? If Maui lights on fire and the whole town burns down, the most valuable real estate on the island of Hawaii, like ever, if it burns down to the ground, like who benefits? So time will tell, because like 9/11 happened, who benefited? Well, the government got off scot-free for missing trillions and trillions of dollars.
Yeah.
The largest insurance claim ever cashed out on happened as well. I can't remember the figure on that. Maybe Mal could look it up. The largest insurance claim ever to be cashed out on was 9/11, and the policy was like filed within the same year.
Well, and then the government, you touched on that. The government were missing trillions of dollars.
Trillions of dollars.
It was like the day before they were trying to figure out what
they
was
were
going
testifying like on the 10th or the 9th or something, like the day before. And also we forget too that the towers collapsed, but the wing of the Pentagon exploded. And I say exploded because there's no fucking evidence of a plane actually hitting it. And that plane just like perfectly aligned on its flight path to the financial wing. Like, it's just a little too convenient. Like, call me fucking crazy. Call me a conspiracy theorist. Like, there's nothing anyone can call me anymore. Like, Alex Jones is like he's been right.
Yeah.
He's like an 80%
How many times is he right?
Like, and there's yet...
It's almost scary, dude, when you listen to him.
Yeah, more time. And he's been right so much that people are actually thinking that he's a CIA plant. Like he's a counter agent or whatever. Like he's actually trying to shape the narrative a little bit. That's like how much popular opinion is starting to believe these conspiracies, that now they're like, the Spider-Man meme where they're like, can you pull up the Spider-Man meme, Mal, where they're like pointing at each other? Like, there's so much belief and so much popular opinion in conspiracy theories now that conspiracy theorists, they're like pointing at each other like this. Yeah, they're like, oh, it's you. It's me. It's you. Like, this is like, now we're like looking at Alex Jones like, are you a CIA guy?
Yeah.
Are you a CIA? Are you a CIA guy? Like, it's just, it's nuts, man. Like, that's how much like people are like connecting dots now. People are becoming more aware. So now we're like, are you a spy? Are you a spy?
Apparently 9/11 was an 8.7 billion payout.
Yeah. 8.7 billion.
Crazy.
Yeah. 23% from insurance and 8% from charity. Fucking crazy. So, wait, 40 billion was paid out, says there. Took years to be settled. Overall, around 40 billion. Yeah.
That's crazy.
So there's more detail
we're getting
to that.
Different figures, but a lot is a good.
Yeah, it's still like one of the largest settlements ever made from
a B number. How about that?
Yeah, and also the towers that came down, they were built to be just like the Titanic. Like, this is where they get me because
we got to get back to Maui, but go ahead.
Yeah, no, this is setting up Maui.
Okay.
Because these people put in they put these patterns in place. They like sing, it's like a serial killer, how they leave a mark. Like, they kind of secretly want to be found out.
Sure.
And there's symbology and all this secret stuff. So this is where you can really get deep in some stuff. But there's like a signature, yeah. And so like the ship that was meant to be unsinkable was the Titanic. And the amount of like high profile people that were on the Titanic and the people who were not, and the people who benefited from the Titanic sinking on the unsinkable ship that sank, right? It's like poetic. And then like the people like Rockefeller and some other people like made out like bandits from that shit. And were able to, over the years, just corner people's assets. And then there's 9/11, where the tower that would never fall, it was designed to withstand a plane hit. They preach about it. There's documentaries about it in the 90s where they were building the towers, how they were engineered and designed to even withstand like a major airliner hitting it in an emergency and it wouldn't fall over because they were so tall, right? They were the world's tallest building at the time. And so the tower that would never fall from a plane hit falls from a plane hit. All right, so there's another little signature thing on there. And the shift in wealth and what set up the next 2 decades of warfare. And who benefited from that, going to Iraq and going to Afghanistan. Like, we didn't go there for freedom and peace and anti-terrorism. That was all made up. And if you still believe that, pull your head out of your ass. Go read. Look at this book. This is called Where Did the Towers Go? Written by Judy Wood. And she suggests, the reason I brought this up for Maui, that the towers were brought down by directed free energy technology, or directed energy weapons is what they're called now in 2023. But she wrote this, published it, I think, in 2016. So she had 16 years. This is a goddamn textbook if you're watching this. Right? Like, there's like pictures and stuff in here. So if you like picture books.
That's what I was going to say. I might read that, dude. There's more than 2 or 3 pictures on a page.
I've gotten I read this in spurts. Like, I'll go deep dive into one area. It's like a textbook.
Yeah.
Like, please turn to chapter 5 and we'll study this curriculum.
Like diagrams.
Yeah. And so I found these pages here. I wanted to show you these. These are basically, I'll leave this with you for a second.
Yep.
These are like melted cars on 9/11 that make no sense. And so if you're talking about energy weapons, I think there was over 1,200 people, documented people that jumped willingly from the 9/11, when the towers, the World Trade Center towers, they willingly threw themselves out of a building, 1,200 people. So the thing that gets me and the thing that's setting up Maui is that these people were directly in the blast of an energy weapon at 9/11. Someone with kids, a wife, kids, a great job at the World Trade Center, making over $100K. He's got his kids on his desk. He's all typing away all day, doing his job. Yeah. Oh, I can't wait to get home and see the fam. So like he's down, these people have futures and they're trapped in a building. They're above the impact of the plane. They're in this building and they're like, whoa, what do we do? Would you hold on to dear life if you knew you could see your kid again?
If there was a chance.
You wouldn't willingly end it. Right. So what would make
jumping
you
out of that is that.
Yeah. That's
no surviving
a
that.
ticket out of there. So what would make you jump from that building if there was even a glimmer of hope you could get out of there? What would make you jump?
I don't know.
No one knows, right? Until this book. But just to give you another statistic, I think out of all building like skyscraper or like high-rise building catastrophes, I think it's like 0.001% of people have ever chosen to jump. Like ridiculous. Like nobody chooses to jump. Yeah, they'll die from smoke inhalation before jumping. So like the cartoons when they're holding a trampoline and somebody jumps like that, very rarely ever happens. Maybe from like 2 or 3 stories.
Sure.
But like if you're above 5,
100.
no. So nobody chooses to jump unless they're doing suicide stuff. So anyway, my point is that on 9/11, over 1,200, they estimate even close to 1,400 of the deaths out of the 3,000 total. That's out of the plane that crashed in Pennsylvania, the financial wing of the Pentagon, and the towers, and then building 6 and 7 or whatever. There's like 4 buildings that fell. Almost half of them chose to jump. Firefighters were saying that people were hitting the ground like once a minute. Once every 45 seconds, someone would hit the ground. And all of these people were either half naked or fully naked. So here you are. There's a hope that you might be rescued. You're thinking about your wife and kids. Am I ever going to see them again? And what would make you choose to willingly rip your clothes off and throw yourself from a building? The only thing that she comes to a conclusion with mountains of evidence is that they were literally being boiled alive in their own skin by a microwave of some sort or an energy weapon, electromagnetism. And this is stuff that our government and our military has facilities for. They can shoot missiles out of the sky with this shit. Reagan in the 80s put up what's called the Star Wars program. It was a bunch of military satellites. That's about all we knew about it. A huge program, a huge feat for the Space Force that's been around for a long fucking time. Not NASA. NASA's a waste of time. They're a fucking cinematography club.
Yeah.
They're not real. The real Space Force is in Colorado. It's the Air Force and the Navy. Go look it up. It'll blow your mind. So anyway, this all ties together because this same energy technology was available in 9/11. They basically microwaved the shit out of people. 1,400 people ripping their clothes off and jumping out of a building naked because they had no hope. You imagine you're in the building, the fire suppressions come on, you're soaked to the bone, you put a wet rag in the microwave, it comes to a boil almost. You put a dry rag in the microwave, it just gets warm maybe from, whatever moisture's in there. But it doesn't, so like there you are, you're just being boiled alive. Your blood is boiling, your organs, you're 70% water. So you're boiling alive. And so that overcomes your desire to live even more than seeing your boy again. And so you throw yourself out of a building. That's what 1,400 people decided to do, or thereabouts approximately, on 9/11. And that's just glossed over. No investigation. No one ever fucking talks about that. So parallels. Why are there so many people missing from Maui? Right? So let me zoom out a little bit because the equation is this. There's a problem. The public has a reaction, and then there's a solution. And sometimes, if you look closely, the solution is teed up because they know our reaction already, so they cause the problem. Problem, reaction, solution. We have a problem. America doesn't want to enter World War II. The American public is against it. We're oceans away. There's not really a threat to us. We haven't cut our teeth yet. We don't really care. By this point, too, most of America is farmers. They're not looking for war. So what happens? They cause a problem. A problem arises. Pearl Harbor was fucked by the Japanese. So now we have a reason. Now we have a reaction.
Now let's get
the
fighting.
solution, let's go to war. Send all your kids. Get your 19-year-olds. Get your 18-year-olds up out of their their high school, up out of their college opportunities, up out of their farms. And let's send them over to other countries so they can go fucking die. So we can stop the Nazis. And I'm glad we did, right? But there's weird stuff about the Holocaust too if you look into that. It's just I think we're being lied to about a lot of stuff. If you win the war, you get to write the history. So, of course, we're always the fucking heroes.
You're the hero in
Even
your
though
own
Russia
story.
did most of the fighting and the reason we won the war was because of Russia.
Yeah, but we rode in on our white horse.
Yeah, we rode in and we stole all the technology and all the good scientists and we dipped.
Here, come
So
work for
anyway,
us.
yeah, so that's it. Problem, reaction, solution. So what's the problem? Climate change. And what the problem? It's always a crisis. We're in this perpetual state of crises. So problem, climate change is happening. No one's believing us. So let's burn a city down and let's get a reaction and then we'll offer a solution. And the solution was placed in 2018. 2018, clean energy. Hawaii puts this article out about how they're going to be the first state to go completely clean energy. And if you've heard about it, Maui was scheduled to be the first smart city using 100% clean energy, electric vehicles, electric everything. Basically technocratic control. Put a microchip in your hand. Let's control you, blah, blah, blah. Social credit systems and making sure everybody complies. That's basically what they're pushing. And we all know that, but that happened in 2018. Anyway, I'm ranting now, but what are your thoughts on that, dude? I went back and connected Pearl Harbor, 9/11 to Maui. What do you think? What are you thinking, bro?
I think that there's less coincidences than they want us to believe. I have not deep dive and have the knowledge you do on all this stuff, right? But I look at there's people and again, dude, I don't even know what to believe. And so you're watching these things on the news. And I don't watch the news, but I'll watch it on social media of clips of the news, right? Yeah. And you see certain things, and I don't even believe any of it anymore. And like, that's a whole scary thing in itself. Is there, who do you believe?
Yeah.
And I guess, like, I know your answer would be yourself, like dive into it and figure it out.
Well, hopefully.
Critical think.
I mean, I think that's the best path anyone
Yeah.
could take.
Right.
But like what that leads to, right? You're not going to find the answers. What you're going to find is intention. What you're going to find is pieces of a puzzle that you can put together however you like at the end of the day. But really what it leads people to is you can trust this. Wherever there is no accountability and a lot of money, there will be corruption. I'd lean my hat on that all day.
Yeah.
Lots of money, no accountability, or opportunity to make money with no accountability, or getting off scot-free, right? Like there's...
See, that's more where I'm like...
That's the
I could get
intention.
in on COVID for 2 years on those couple things.
Yeah, dude. When you can see the intention, who is benefiting, where is this money going?
Right.
Like, how many people really died out of COVID that wasn't like out of the ordinary? Because a lot of people die from influenza. A lot of people die. There's even studies that influenza and like COVID and everything are linked with frequency. Like even back, like the moment electricity came online in the 20s is when the bird flu happened. There's like all these weird coincidences, and frequencies are very much, they affect the human body. 5G, all that stuff. You are a frequency. You're resonating at a certain amount. They measure everything now. It's crazy.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of weird coincidences about that stuff, but like getting people, or just understanding how people work and the intentions behind people. It's like, it doesn't matter if Maui was burned down by directed energy weapons. I think it does to a degree. Like, we need to be aware of these things.
Yeah.
And it's not absurd. It's not absurd to understand that our country has militarized space, or corporations have, or something. It's not absurd to think that there's a puppet master behind the shadows. Like, now is the time to do it. We have more communication and more technology available to just the normal citizen than any time before. So what are the elites controlling? That's not far-fetched to think that way. And I'm sick of people telling me that it is. I'm sick of, here's the thing, I never take anything to the bank, but I like to explore all options. And sometimes I get passionate and emotional about it because I'm onto something. Like, the intention is there. If it looks like shit and it smells like shit, it's probably what?
Shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stanky shit. So that's the thing, is like, we're never going to know all the details. It's impossible. You know, it's not our place to know. But like, the patterns of intention, the patterns of corruption, they take a form. They play out like notes on a sheet of music. The same tune. And you're like, this sounds familiar. Problem, reaction, solution. Well, we don't have enough problem. We know the American people will react this way. So let's create a problem to get that reaction, and then we'll offer a solution that furthers our gains.
Right.
That's the equation right there. So what are the intentions behind, this poetic, they put their little signatures on shit. Like, what's the details? The details show you the signatures, I think. But who is to benefit, in your opinion? You know that Lahaina, right, in Maui, is like some of the most valuable real estate on all of the Hawaiian Islands, right?
Yeah, the median's over $1 million.
Yeah.
The median
the
cost
median.
of...
It's like 1.1 or something, minimal. And that's not if you're beachfront. If you're beachfront, it's probably closer to 2, maybe. I don't know. I'm not accurate.
Yeah, I mean, my look, again, being very lightly educated on any of this stuff, or looking into any of this stuff, it's the real estate to me. And so whether that's, like I've heard, was intentionally burnt so the more wealthy people could buy it up for cheaper.
Yeah, they're stripping the assets from the middle class to give to the wealthy. Let's dive in on that real quick. You said it's the real estate.
I think if there is
value
to gain by somebody, it's the real estate.
Absolutely. I think that's the intention, right? They want to push an agenda, like we can get into that, but just the real estate alone, right? Real estate that got burned, real estate that didn't get burned. Who are real estate owners on the island now? And then we'll see in the coming months who sweeps in and buys up as much as possible, right?
Yeah.
Weird.
So correct me if I'm wrong, because I've heard this, I don't know this. Bezos,
Bezos,
Oprah.
check. Oprah, check. Will Smith, check.
Does Will have some?
Will has some.
That's all I can recall. Is there anyone else?
Oprah's the largest landowner
Okay.
on Maui with over like 300 acres. It's a small island too. Where do you search him? Does The Rock have a house in Maui?
That says
Take a
Hawaii,
look
I think.
inside Dwayne The Rock Johnson's Swine Vacation. What? Oh, it's look for what island it's on. It looks like it's on Kailua, Hawaii. Click on that, Mal, if you could. It's the
reason I'm pulling him up is because I thought I saw him on like a video with Oprah.
he was, yeah.
Okay.
Him and Oprah were they committed to raise $10 million.
Yeah, see
Which
if there's
means
like a,
you are gonna be raising it for them. So
Wait, what does that title say?
this is let's see.
Let's just scroll up. Yeah, Dwayne The Rock Johnson's vacation rental house has its own beach. Okay, cool.
will you
Where is that?
search like wealthy landowners in
Maui.
Maui?
Yeah, I don't even know what island his rental is on. It might not even be that one, but yeah, he was on a video with Oprah. The reason we're looking up The Rock, because he's close to becoming a billionaire, or he's trending that way.
Oracle co-founder.
Yeah. Oh, Larry Ellison. That's a new name. Oracle founder Larry Ellison owns nearly all of the nearby island of Lanai, sorry. That's part of Maui County. Okay, Bezos and Ellison alone make up 2 of the 4 richest people on Earth. Okay, cool. So there's a lot of, but here's the thing: none of them lost property in the fire.
That's the point we're getting to. Yeah.
Oprah, apparently, I have to fact check this, so if you're listening, do your research. Oprah hired private firefighting teams for her property.
Sorry.
Yeah,
I'm
who's
just
the
reading
largest
these things.
landowner on Maui? Can you look at the...
Yeah, it says state of Hawaii, U.S. government, and then school. I don't know how to say that. You want to give that a shot?
Kamehameha? Yeah.
Yeah. Schools, and then Alexander and Baldwin. Marker Ranch, and then Larry Ellen. So, like,
Yeah, the state, the government, the school district.
it's like the standalone person would be Larry Ellison, not like a business.
Yeah,
or-
the individual,
yeah.
the private owner. So, anyway, this is we can dive deep on this. Again, go do your own research. There's a lot of fishy stuff, but
Can I bring up one more question?
Yeah,
So my
yeah.
next question on that, and the other conspiracy thing I always hear is about the blue.
the blue.
The color blue.
Well, that's in support of a directed energy weapon.
Okay. Are we going to bring that up later, or you want to jump in on it
We
now?
jump into it now.
Okay.
So we established that the real estate is probably the motive, or the juicy, the gittins.
Yeah.
You know, that's
Buy it
the,
up cheap after it's burnt.
That's the smorgasbord that they're
Rebuild
gonna
a
get.
smart city. Go ahead.
Rebuild a smart. So there's a lot of intention. They want to rebuild a smart city. Maui was committed to like doing it. Hawaii's been committed to like fight climate change and be this like shining beacon of
Blue state, yeah.
blue, you know, or energy, whatever. So that's all. That's there. That's interesting. They've started that in 2018. The governor earlier this year, it's documented too that he was like committing Maui to be a smart city, and Lahaina specifically, I think even. I'd have to cross-check that, but Maui, basically the whole island was going to be one. So then there's the landowners with Oprah, and a lot of billionaires, or a lot of the homes, they have special colored roofs that are like, there's a lot of wealthy people, like multiple property owners all have the same color of homes. And it's a special blue color that's been popping up. And then like, of course, all the fact-checking truth and safety officers, trust and safety officers, excuse me. They're the ones fact-checking all this, which is just another red flag. But they're basically the thing is that in the rubble of all of these fires, there's anything that's colored blue. There's like blue water jugs. There was blue, like shade cover or sunshades that sit over a table, umbrellas, that were untouched, and everything is burnt to the ground from them. Right, which is really weird for a natural fire to avoid something because it's colored. Just
Right,
like
so is that true though?
it's true.
Okay.
Yeah, it's backed up. Like there's imagery of it, like video of it that's like undeniable. People being like, "I'm in Maui. This is what's going on," and they like. That's kind of where the whole thing started. Yeah, he pans over and there's a cafe and everything's burned to the crisp, like literally burnt to ash down to like less than 2 feet tall, and the only thing that's standing are these blue sunshades. But apparently the idea is that this directed energy weapon, this laser, is associated with frequencies on the color spectrum, and so like that specific color is kind of like immune to it. It's resistant, and it just so happens that a number of wealthy people have their house painted that color. It just so happens too that a lot of the Freemason lodges around the globe are also painted that color, like specifically that blue. And I'd have to fact check that. I haven't really dove deep into that as much, but that's out there. Go research it. Go find it. So that's what's interesting about that stuff, the color blue. But that ties with the real estate because the landowners have painted their homes that color. Why? Why did Oprah Winfrey have a private firefighting crew on standby? Right. And what's interesting too is the fire happened on the 8th of August. On the 4th of August, later in Maui, there was like a multiple, I think it was 3 to 5 fires that just spontaneously happened at the same time on different parts of the island. And so maybe that was set up just to kind of tee up Oprah getting her. She's like, well, maybe the wildfire and I'm going to have private land. She does own a lot of land, so I'll give her that benefit of the doubt. Like if I was a landowner and there were wildfire season, I'd probably, if I could afford it, I'd be like, yeah, go be a firefighter on my property just in case. So anyway, but that is kind of weird. Like
lining up dots.
Yeah, it's not like a known fire season in Maui. I've never heard of wildfires in Maui. You know, if you have someone that leaves their employment to go do wildland firefighting, like nobody goes to Maui.
Yeah, California.
They go to California. They go in California. Their Forest Service department doesn't do any maintenance of or grooming of the forests. A lot of people don't know that, but the Forest Service actually goes through just thousands of acres of land and cleans up the underbrush and removes deadfalls from trails and like piles this up in areas where they won't catch flames. So it makes it harder for fires. So that's why, like, you know, on the same kind of terrain and the same kind of climates as like California and Utah and like the Rocky Mountains, like some states will burn all the time and others won't because of what the state puts towards the funding for that.
Right.
And Utah does a great job of that. I was on the elk hunt recently with Jeff and Brandon. From the Solid crew, and they
jelly, dude. I'm so jealous.
Yeah, it was fun. We didn't get nothing, but
and my boy Ryan Knapp.
Yeah, you know Ryan Knapp?
That's who I go bear hunting with.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah,
I would have told him we did your podcast too. Yeah, we were out there with Ryan, and we see all these. It's very well maintained. You know, there's fires anywhere. There's, you know, that's not too crazy rugged. Anywhere there's likely fires to happen, the fire service piles up that stuff. And Utah does a great job of maintaining their wilderness like that to prevent the spread of fires. But California does not. Also, that was one aspect of Hawaii too. I don't know how they maintain that land, but there was a lot of brush and a lot of flammable tinder that should have been removed or could have been removed. I don't know if it was a normal thing for them to remove it and they just never did it, or if it's something that's done regularly until recently. That would be interesting too to see. So I'll have to look into that more. But yeah, that ties in with the real estate thing, man. Is who owns the land there? Why are they painting the color? What's to do with that color blue?
Well, so I've seen, again, my short Instagram, TikTok videos that I've seen, and there's like residents, like native residents that are saying that they're getting phone calls.
Yeah.
Trying to buy up all the land now that's burnt.
Well, here's the thing too. Communications in Maui. Okay. So let me go through some stuff here. As far as communications goes, we're talking getting the opinions and the accounts of locals has been really difficult. Why? Because first off, the natural disaster warning system, it's like a intercom siren system. Because think about Hawaii. Like, they got live active volcanoes. They got tsunami threats. They got all sorts of issues. Like, hurricanes can hit. So they have a siren system that never activated because they thought it would cause panic.
Okay.
So the analogy I like to use, I was telling this to Mal the other day. If I go into a theater and I yell, fire, everyone get out, right? That will cause panic most likely, right? So there's laws in place. Like, if I'm lying or if I'm wrong and 100 people get out of the theater and they stampede out of there and like 2 people die,
trampled,
then I can get charged for manslaughter. But if I'm right, I just saved, if there's 100 people and 2 of them die from being trampled because of the panic, I just saved 98 people's life because there was a real fire. But 2 people died from the trampling because I caused the panic. Like, I'd get charged for that all day. If I saved 98 people and 2 people that couldn't run in the stampede of people, they're probably elderly or like maybe a guy like on crutches. I don't know. Like, if they couldn't make it out, I'm sorry, but I saved 98 people's life by causing a panic and making them leave the fire. So, like, that's just like the dumbest excuse I've ever heard.
right? So it's like, okay, so now we have a volcano going, and we sound the sirens to cause a panic now.
Yeah. So but let me change the scenario, right? If you have 100 people in a theater that you want gone, you want them to disappear. So the boy, I'm about to run in there and be like, fire. And you're like, wait, no, that won't cause a panic.
Yeah.
And then all 100 people die. Like,
No warning system.
you didn't warn them. The fire alarm system didn't work because you wanted them all dead. That's another little perspective you could change on there. It's like, if you didn't, like,
Because that's a thing right now. They're
where are they
going
going to go?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like,
Like
if,
they had no support. There was no people with.
yeah, it'll
going
cause
around.
chaos, and a
Yeah.
fire won't.
Right.
The whole fucking town burning to the ground because of a wildfire won't cause chaos.
Hundreds of people, I think, still missing.
Nobody was fighting the fire either. Like,
Right.
the fire department, like, what? Like, so instead of sounding the sirens, what the cops did is barricaded off the whole fucking town. Have you heard about this?
Mm-mm.
They basically blocked people in. There's residents people, like, they're claiming that they were blocked in and they had to like drive across people's property lines and off road past these police barricades to even get out. Other people couldn't get out of the town, so they were pushed into the ocean and they drowned because of smoke inhalation, right? So it's almost like you either sound the alarm and cause a panic. Either way, it's going to cause a panic. The whole town's on fire. Sound the alarms, get people out. It might be, a complete shit show and people might get hurt, but people will get out, the majority of them. That's what the alarms are for, right? Like, same thing. If there was a tsunami coming and nobody knew about it, a lot more casualties would happen. But if they had ample time to get out, they'd run into the hills and they'd survive.
That's why we have an alarm system.
Yes. It's like, it's going to cause panic regardless. Like, when the alarms go off, like, it causes panic,
Right.
in any building and anywhere in the world. And so that's a huge failure, I think. That's not a smoking gun, but that's a red flag. It's like, why? I think they were going, if it's a land grab, it all ties back to that real estate. Here's where you can connect dots. If the landowners die, then no one will stop the land from being sold or reallocated, right? Another thing too with the Hawaiian government is that in a time of crisis, the governor has full control. If there's a crisis, he has full control to repurpose land and basically take it from you. And that's commonplace in a lot of areas in the US from what I understand. It's like the government can use your shit if there's an emergency, but they can straight up repurpose it, completely reallocate it and basically take it from you.
Like if they want a smart city.
Yeah, if they want a smart city there, and there's an emergency crisis. That's the thing. A lot of these executive powers and a lot of these bills that have been written into power into our life, they're all based on some contingency where if there's a big terrorist attack, then we get these powers for your safety.
Patriot Act.
For the trust and safety of your people, we get to control if there's an emergency. So if we're in a constant state of crisis, it's just going to bring wealth and power to more people. That's the whole loophole. That's the whole cycle. So it lines up here. If you place that overlay over Maui, the situation, it's all fitting perfectly. That's what it is. And so that's weird that like people were kind of blocked in, lack of communication on the whole siren thing. Also, because I can't remember why, but the kids had school off that day. I can't remember why. All the kids were at home. And usually because of inflation, and if you live on Hawaii and inflation, it's already expensive, plus inflation, most homes are probably a dual income home. So, if the kids are at home, not at school, the parents are not there. Right? So that's where there's so many children still missing. That's been reported by the Hawaiian education department, the state education system, is reporting that like over 1,200 kids have not reported to school. Now, I mean, after a natural disaster, I wouldn't be too keen on letting my kid go to school the next
that's not
day.
top of mind.
Or
for
like,
me.
oh man, my house is burning down. Let me call the public school system. Hey, just so you know, my kid won't be at school tomorrow.
Trying to find a hotel to sleep in.
Because the volcano got me, or the tsunami, and Hawaii is susceptible to all of those. So I don't know why they're coming out with that, but that's like a week or two later, like they're missing people still to this day. And it's estimated that over like 1,200 kids are missing still. Also, a weird thing too about the school buses, Mal, you remember me telling you about that? I saw a guy on YouTube breaking it down, and I haven't looked into this personally, but it is interesting. But in the Lahaina School District, or the Lahaina School Bus Yard, there's a total of like 16 or 17 school buses. And if they had the days off, all like 16, 17 of those school buses like should be in the schoolyard, or at least accounted for, like because like I know a school bus driver, sometimes they'll park it at their house. So it's just easier for them. And they only bring it in if there's maintenance. I know that's how kind of like school bus drivers work. I had one that lived across the street from me growing up. So her school bus was always like parked on the side of her house. Because it's more convenient for them to wake up every day and do it. So, but in that school bus yard where they keep the school buses, there's 16 missing school buses in Lahaina. Like they're not even accounted for anywhere, like in the city or anywhere. So it's like if there was no school that day, like what were the school buses being used for? And where are the kids?
How many kids would fit on those school buses?
Yeah, so the guy did the math. With all 16, you could probably fit about 750 kids on there on one trip. If they did two, easily. Plus, I mean, in the Marine Corps, they use a school bus. Let's say there's 50 seats. No, there's actually 80 places. So they just cram your asses in there. I'm like sitting on the ground with like packs on me. I'm like, I haven't seen the light of day for 45 minutes. Just like trying not to get claustrophobic. They pack you in like sardines. They don't give a shit. So with kids, just imagine how many could cram on a school bus, right? There's a lot of space.
If you went 3 to a seat.
Yeah, 3 to a seat, and then everybody else nut to butt basically on the ground, and then cram them in there, man. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Like, it's an emergency. There's a fire. Get in there. So I'm sure they packed more on. But again, to what end? Like, why are these kids missing? Like, why are there no remains? They've found plenty of remains. Some of them kids, some of them elderly, like huddled up against each other like Pompeii is what people are reporting. So again, I don't know how accurate this is, because another thing with the communication is that there's like literally no internet or Wi-Fi there. Still, and here it is, the 6th of September. This happened almost a month ago, almost exactly on the 8th of August. And so I might be kind of behind on my information because I haven't like watched this every day. But why is there no comms? Like in any emergency, the first thing you do is like get communication with the outside world. It's like part of military doctrine and tactics. It's like get comms, stop what you're doing. If a new development's happened, like, and you need to update, you gotta get to the top of the hill. You gotta send a message out, kind of like Lone Survivor, that whole story. And the reason people do that exercise called the Murph is because Lieutenant Murphy ran out there because in a hail of gunfire just to get a satellite phone to work and save his buddies. So he sacrificed himself to get that calm. And so it's like, where's the communication? That's how you communicate to get this solved, right? Is to get people aid. Also, people are being denied bringing aid in. It's another thing. They're being denied by police. No one's going in or out of Maui. And they're claiming that it's to protect the scene for investigation. So they're prioritizing the scene being investigated and controlling that investigation over the people, over life, which is really weird to me. Because if there's an emergency going on, you'd think a good, benevolent government would want your life to be protected first rather than the scene. Like, if it's a wildfire, it's a fucking wildfire. We'll figure it out. Let's save the people. But if it's a wildfire and you don't want us to see the evidence of it's a wildfire, now we start thinking it's not a wildfire. Mm-hmm. Now we can't help our people. Like Maui citizens, they can't even go in and find their families. They can't even go in. They can't even get aid. People are smuggling food and water via boat to the shore and throwing it on the shore to people because of the police barricades. And there's also been reports of the law enforcement have put up a privacy screen from the main highway looking into Lahaina. Because if this is like going on, think about all the fucking hippie weirdos that live on Hawaii with ponytails. They do yoga. They talk about love and peace and hair grease, baby. That's it. What a great opportunity for them to go help and get some views. Like, hey guys, it's me at Lahaina, I'm helping. And they hand like the poor man a sandwich. You know, like influencers do that shit.
Sure.
Let them loose. They'll run in there and help all the people. Why are they being denied? Because they have these things in their fucking pockets, man. They got phones. It could expose the intention.
So are there still police barricades
Yeah.
now?
They're controlling who goes in and out of that area.
Pull that up, Mal.
Yeah, and check me on that. That was I think that was a week or two ago.
I was going to say this too. Like, this is going to come out, I mean, in a few days. So, like, there's going to be more, or I would assume.
I hope so.
There's more information.
Yeah, before you throw us under the bus. Because I hope this is all wrong.
There's going to be that one guy that's like, no, the police chief said this, and that's what happened. It's like, okay, well.
Yeah.
We still have lives here. We have jobs.
Yeah, that's a little vague. Those keywords are getting grabbed. So, look, ask it a question. Are the police barricading Maui? Are the police controlling who goes in and out? Because there are people from Hawaii that are getting on social media and they're saying that we need help. And yeah, there it is. Maui police chief responds to criticism over barricades. Can you click on that? Maui police chief responds to criticism over barricades that were up as Lahaina burned. I kind of understand that as well, like serve and protect. Like, you're not going to let people run into a burning building, but like, you know, there's always stories of like a dad going in to save his kid because like the fireman doesn't know where his kid hides if he's scared.
Yeah.
Like there's a place in this house right now that if there's thunder, my dogs go to hide and a fireman wouldn't go look there.
Maui residents who disobeyed barricades survived fires.
Yeah. This is from The Hill. I always look at this. This is on the 23rd. This is written by Lauren Sforza. I always look at that too to make sure we're checking it.
So look at the video on this shit. Like it's not indicative of a wildfire at all. Like it looks like it got
that's the other thing.
Incinerated by not a wildfire.
So here's the thing too that I will say: electrical fires are weird as shit. And if electricity's in a house, it'll burn weird. But like, even if a house catches fire, like I've seen them in my neighborhoods growing up. There was one over on Diagonal like a year ago.
Yeah.
A house went up. You drive by that, probably like 20-30% of the house was still intact. Now, again, it wasn't a wildfire that like was out of control, so who knows? But electrical fires are crazy. And I've heard sometimes an electrical fire will blaze up to such a high degree, but it burns through all its fuel so fast that it moves on so quick. or it goes out really quick as well. It goes out sometimes just as quick as it started.
So was this getting hit from the hurricane while this was happening?
They
Was
blamed
there
it on
winds? I
they
mean, is
blamed
that
a
just
wildfire with hurricane winds
Okay.
that forced it to grow. So,
Well, and I thought it was interesting right there. And I don't know what the coverage was of Biden going over there and talking to him, but in the beginning there was a clip when they asked him like what his response would be. And I'm pretty sure he said no comment.
who was this?
Biden.
Biden. Oh yeah.
They were like, "What are you doing about?" Because
Biden's an idiot.
I think they were like, "You're sending aid to Ukraine. What are you going to do about Maui?" And he's like, "No comment."
I think anybody that voted for Biden, if you have a fucking brain on your shoulder and you voted for Biden, like, just don't let that happen
I mean,
again.
they're definitely still
Don't be
not
an idiot
listening by
again.
now.
Oh yeah, they're not listening to this at all. This is just for them to hear in like the karmic universe, like the karma hits them. Well, like if you voted for Biden, you're a dumb bitch.
All right,
Seriously,
we got 10 minutes.
a dumb bitch.
What else do we need to touch on in 10 minutes?
If you vote for this is one more thing we'll touch on. If you voted for Biden, you're a dumb bitch.
Just wanted to reiterate
Yeah,
that.
I mean, how many billions? God damn it.
So
anyway,
so pull up real quick for me how many kids are still missing. Can you do that?
also, we need to talk about the police chief, John Pelletier.
Okay.
It just happens to be the same police chief that ran Vegas. He was the police chief of Metro Las Vegas
When?
when the shooting happened at the Jason Aldean concert in 2017, 16. I can't remember what year.
2000.
2000. Let's check those
This
sources.
is interesting, though. Over 2,000 children who are unaccounted for in the public school. Like, that's where your statistic comes from, is how many kids haven't been back to school.
Yeah, so there's.
I mean, would there be another way to know that?
I mean, if the school burns down, it's like, how are they going back to school? You know.
Yeah. But I mean, like, what other metric could you count how many kids are missing?
Well, that if kids are missing, a lot of times they, like, I would imagine, like, where's the database for all these kids?
Yeah.
Like, not all of them go to the same dentist in town, right?
Right,
Not all
right,
of them go
right.
to the same doctor.
I don't know, dude. When
So
I
what
crossed county lines during COVID, it notified my phone. It's like, we can't just track all these people's phones and find out where they are.
Well, yeah. I mean, if your phone gets obliterated in a fire and they shut down Wi-Fi in the area, how are you going to track them? You know, you know, and not everybody.
2,000 kids.
You know, I leave my phone on the desk. If I had to run out of here in a fire, my phone would be one of the last things I'd grab.
What's the population of the city?
I can't remember that, but yeah, more than 2,000 children from Lahaina Public Schools. What date is that? We might need to check some of these because we're late to the party. This is August 27th.
So 2 weeks
Numbers
ago.
do not lie. This is a LinkedIn article. Click on that for us, Mal. Maui missing children, ? 25th. There's the police chief, by the way. I was going to make you sign in. Um, 25th. Is this the top of the article? Starts you at the bottom. Let's see. This is an offshoot article. No one likes to be lied to, but it's especially hurtful to be lied to by people you put in trust. Okay, blah, blah, blah. Called a liar traitor for the same reason. So, okay, yeah, that's a lot of things too. A lot of people are calling people traitors for like questioning this shit. A lot of people are just targeting people like with some really nasty stuff. There'll probably like be some fact checkers or some trust and safety advisors or whatever the fuck like on your content here.
It reminds me of a hall monitor. Like, I'm the trust and safety guy.
Okay, so look at this blue part at the bottom.
Trust and safety professionals.
This is here. Parents and community members feel particularly tormented knowing many of the children were home alone when the fire struck, or one father who managed to save his own children, but not his neighbors, stated that even a 10 to 15 minute warning could have made a significant difference saving lives. Cool. The other blue part at the bottom there. What happened to the kids? The question a lot of people have been asking. I think that's the most common question I've seen in comments on other videos and other things. Fish, he says, I don't know who Fish is, but they're lying to us about the people and the children. All you got to do is extrapolate. There's 3,001 students in Lahaina. 1,000 of them have been accounted for. They're going to alternative schools or online. That's 2,000 children not accounted for. a bit off from the approximated 800 total people missing. It doesn't add up. A lot of stuff's not adding up. And I get it that, like, in crisis, too, I mean, they didn't know the full body count of 9/11 and for a couple weeks, but it's been a fucking month. And they still can't find kids. Why? Also, FEMA's there, too. FEMA's the Federal Environmental, I can't remember agency, but we all know what they do. Anything else there? Nearly twice as many families in Hawaii decided to homeschool their children this year. Why? Same thing's happening all over the globe.
This year, 2021. What happened in 2020?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. As last year, according to the new data from public schools and the Census Bureau, homeschooling is alive and well in Hawaii, said Lori Beth Aldridge, who came to school, blah, 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 blah,
Okay, so hold on. So the kid there, it was saying the kids that are doing online school and others, which I would assume is homeschool, are accounted for?
I guess so. Let's go back up to that blue section, Mal. No, you passed it.
Right.
Oh, no, right there.
Right
Yeah.
there, yeah.
There's 3,000 students in Lahaina, plus one. 1,000 of them have been accounted for. They're going to alternative schools or online. So they're homeschooling.
So you're telling me the public school
It's
is
missing,
missing
2,000.
But the people that are
And
home,
16 buses.
16 buses.
Are they all? Are there 16 magic school buses with Hawaiian versions of Miss Frizzle out there? Just shrinking down to microscopic sizes and going in people's anuses? Is that a possibility? Is that on the table? 16 school buses are missing. We might have to double check that. Maybe they've found them. They're like, oh yeah, they're also too, dude. There's a whisper. This is completely unchecked. I have not looked into this. There's a whisper that the Marine Corps caught the government organization known as FEMA. FEMA was caught by the Marine Corps digging a mass grave. Apparently. That one I need to check out. So what is this? Is this school bus shit? Why? Oh, there's 15 missing. I was off by one. Sorry. Does anyone find this interesting? Do the math. How many children could fit on these buses? Tell me again. Lahaina missing school buses. Scroll down a little bit there, Mal.
Yeah, it was like all there was.
12 long school buses are missing. Blah, blah, blah. Look, can we check this article real quick? Who is this from?
Oh, and 2 or 3 short buses too.
Short bus. That was my bus. Right on the short bus. September 3rd. This is coming out. This is posted by...
So just a couple days ago.
Before it's news, they posted this on the September 3rd. A little bit late to the party. That's funny. But the school buses, though, I think no one's been paying attention to that. Scroll down a little bit, too, there, Mal. Is this an article, or is it just pictures of toenails?
Yeah, we got
Okay.
some
That was
ads.
pretty much it.
We got some.
So it looks like it's a video.
It's a video.
It's a video that you would watch.
Yeah.
Minute 27. You want to play it?
Not really, but I will. I only say that because now I got to get my USB faders all put
Oh
together.
yeah,
That's
don't worry
why.
about it. Don't worry about
Yeah,
it.
yeah. Sorry. We'll do it later.
What else you got? Last thought. What does Blake Norton think is going on?
Personally, it's my belief based off of previous disasters that we've endured in our lifetime or seen, and what I know about government facilities and Air Force stuff, and my time serving in the military and then as a contractor. I think directed energy weapons are real. I think they were used on us at 9/11. This book again, Where Did the Towers Go? Gee, oh, my phone's in there. But that book right there this is a textbook on Judy Wood's work, and she basically proves that. And so this to me is energy weapons. I know there's a lot of like clickbaity stuff out there that's misleading a lot of people, but I think this was started by an energy weapon. But that's neither here nor there. It doesn't matter because the intention I think we've established is there. They want the real estate. They want smart cities. They want control. They want to enact government powers that come into a time of crisis. And they're controlling in and out access and communication around that area, just like anybody would. If you wanted to control the narrative, you would control access. You would make that your top priority rather than helping people. if you really gave a fuck, or if it really was a natural disaster. Like examples, recently there was another kind of natural disaster at Burning Man where there was 70,000 people stranded there, and they still had enough food and water, and they were able to get help in and out. Because they're not trying to control the narrative at Burning Man. It's just a bunch of hippies in the desert having a good time. So there's no narrative there to control. There is no intention. It's just them out there doing drugs. And they got food. They got a better response to that,
Right.
than like an actual wildfire where people's lives are in line. So even if it was a wildfire, why is the intention? It's dripping with intention. So if you want to debate me on how it happened, was it a natural disaster that everybody was just ready to capitalize on? That's also weird. You know, if it's a random event, how come you're ready? Like if I'm bracing for impact and I claim that like I never knew about it, but I like dove out of the way before everybody else, like it's just weird. So that's what I think is up. It's the intention is there. We fucking know that the government's shady. We know that there's shadow puppetry going on. There's a one world government order or whatever, a secret cabal, Illuminati, whatever you want to call it, whatever label you want to like trip over, stop tripping over the label. It's good versus evil. There is control out there, our technology that's more advanced than we know, and it's being used against us. That's it.
There it is.
Maui's the example.
Another example.
Yeah. Have you noticed too, the 9/11, all this other stuff, like it just happens around this time of year. We pulled out of Afghanistan around this time of year. There was bombing in Afghanistan this time of year that killed 13 Marines and a couple sailors. Just ridiculous that it's all happening. It's like the pattern is there. We're starting to see the pattern. Like they're leaving their calling card like a serial killer. And this is it. They operate in the same way. You know, like if I was to investigate, a scene where a team of professionals came in and just, took over the drug cartels or whatever, like every organization leaves its pattern. There's people that know certain cartels did something because of the way it was done. They know certain gangs did something because of the way it was done. And I see the same pattern here. This is a fucking gang that owns space weapon platforms that are in orbit. Orbital weapon systems. Directed energy weapons. They can also be mounted to planes and drones and ships. And Hawaii is surrounded by a lot of ocean. And that's where a lot of these energy weapons are. They shoot down drones. They shoot down missiles out of the sky, out of orbit. Mark my words, this is the last thing I'll end on. If America ever gets hit with a nuclear strike, it's 100% because the American military or government allowed it to happen.
We have enough measures out there that we should be able to counter it.
Yeah, nuclear weapons are basically a stalemate. Who's got more than us? I got that. It's like, it's no longer, we're not the only ones holding them. It's not an advantage. It's just a stalemate. Who's got more of them? And they've downsized them now because it's not a viable weapon system anymore. Why has Russia taken down some of its nuke? We still have some, just to show strength, just to checkmate, right, kind of a thing. But they're not viable anymore. If a strike happens, it's because we allowed it to happen, because we need a problem so we can react, so they can come in with a solution.
Yeah, hopefully we don't need that big of a solution.
Yeah, hopefully.
All right, Conspiracy Blake.
I'll be back.
Episode 112, guys.
Until next time.
throw your comments in. And then again, go look up stuff for yourself. There's some things that we left unsaid. We were just trying to cut time
straight. Yeah.
So,
because I'll go all day if you let me.
Yeah.
I've kept you after podcasts.
Yeah.
It's like 1 a.m. I'm like, sorry, man, you better get home.
All right, guys. That's it. Episode 112. We'll see you next week.
Thanks for having me, man.
Boom.